Been meaning to cover this case. I will never forget my friend Emily telling me I should listen to this little podcast called Crime Junkie, where in one of the episodes they discuss the crazy disappearance of Amy Lynn Bradley. Let me tell you about it. I also didn't realize this. I'm recording this on March 24th, which would be the 23rd anniversary of her disappearance. March 21st, 1998, the Bradley family took a week-long cruise ship vacation together. They were having a blast. Everything was going really well. In the early hours of March 24th, Amy was hanging out, drinking, having a good time. She was hanging out with the cruise ship band Blue Orchid. According to one of the band members, commonly known as Yellow, said that the two split ways around 1 a.m. Just a little after 5 a.m., Ron, her father, found her sleeping on the cabin balcony but didn't wake her. And then around 6 a.m. when he went to check on her again, she was not there. The family immediately started to panic because Amy wouldn't go anywhere without telling anybody. Despite the Bradley family not knowing where Amy was and reporting her missing, the cruise ship docked in Curacao and continued to let everybody off the boat and continue their vacation. So there really wasn't a thorough search done until too late, honestly. Of course, if people go missing on a cruise ship, the first thing that everybody assumes is they went overboard. Amy, though, was a lifeguard. People thought maybe she drank too much and slipped off of the balcony. Emily wanted everybody to know, though, that Amy packed 10 pairs of shoes. After she went missing, all 10 shoes were still there. So if she left without shoes. There was an extensive search for her, but it did end on March 29th. One key detail before she went missing is very strange and worth mentioning. Amy noticed that during some of their family dinners, like they're dressed up for here, the waitstaff was very nice to her, very flirty, to where she kind of felt uncomfortable and vocally said this. After she went missing, though, they noticed that all of these types of photos taken of Amy were actually missing. It's unclear who took them, but it is assumed that it was the ship crew. Despite us thinking that her father Ron was the last person to see her, Amy's brother was claiming that he was the last person to see her, and says that Amy told him she was going to get cigarettes. The brother told the family this, however, the parents wanted to check the ship first. So it's possible she did get off, go buy cigarettes, got left, something could have happened, anything could have happened. After the search on the ship had ended, the vacation had ended, there were a lot of sightings of people that could have been Amy. Some tourists allegedly saw her in Curacao. She was laying on the beach and they thought that this was her based on her matching tattoos. All 4 of them and her navel ring matched Amy's. However, not much more could be done after this. Also in 1999, a member of the United States Navy apparently saw a woman that looked similar to Amy in a brothel. However, he didn't say anything about this until later in fear of getting in trouble for being in a brothel. So if it was her, there was a missed opportunity to investigate it further. In 2005 in Barbados, there was also a possible sign of her as well, with 3 strange men. There was a composite sketch drawn of the 3 men and the person who looked like Amy, and it definitely looks like her. The woman in the bathroom confronted supposed Amy, and supposed Amy said that her name was Amy and she was from Virginia, which is accurate to Amy Bradley. They were not able to track down who this was or the 3 men. And in an alarming turn of events, a group that searches for people who have been human trafficked found this photo and emailed it to the Bradley family. It looks a lot like her if you ask me. There's even this mock-up here that shows you identical jewelry, similar face, just more makeup. But they of course couldn't really track where this photo had came from. Somebody in the human trafficking ring had posted this. And then unfortunately this case just takes a very sad turn after this. Somebody had approached the Bradley family saying that they were an ex-Navy SEAL and they knew of her whereabouts. He just needed a little bit of money to get there. The Bradley family sent him over $200,000 for him to get help and get the daughter home. However, it was all a scam. I wasn't sure of a timeline of this or when exactly this happened, but in Aruba, a human jawbone actually washed up on shore. This was actually tested for Natalie Holloway, who also vanished in Aruba. Fortunately, though, it was not tested for Amy or any of the other women who have vanished in the Caribbean. This truly is a devastating case. I don't know what happened to her, but if I had to make a theory, I assume it's her on the bed in that photo. It just really looks like her, and it's absolutely horrifying and breaks my heart. Comment and tell me what you think happened to Amy Lynn Bradley.
True Stories from American Horror Story, Part 7. In the first episode, we're introduced to Kit Walker and his wife Alma, who goes missing after a powerful, loud noise and blinding light consumed their entire house. Later, we learn that Alma was actually abducted by aliens. This story is based on the abduction of Betty and Barney Hill. In September of 1961, Betty and Barney were driving home, and they noticed an extremely bright light in the sky, which they first believed was just a falling star. But as they kept driving, this light became brighter and closer. Before they knew it, the couple claimed a pancake-shaped craft was hovering over their car. Barney claimed to have seen anywhere from 8 to 11 what he called humanoid figures staring at them from the window. The next morning, the Hills tried their best to remember exactly what happened the night before. However, they said they couldn't remember much after hearing a series of rhythmic buzzing and beeping sounds. This case became the U.S.'s first publicized alien abduction.
This man captured this sonar image, which supposedly is the Loch Ness Monster. The object was around 33 foot long, and if that's not enough, he caught it again on sonar just weeks later, leaving experts stunned. Excited by the finding, leading sonar expert Craig Wallace said he's willing to come to Loch Ness with more sophisticated sonar equipment and try to find whatever it is that's hiding down there.
The most murderous woman in history is Queen Rana Valona, also known as the Mad Queen of Madagascar. She poisoned her husband to take the throne, then eliminated political rivals, and she just killed anyone she didn't like. Her favorite methods included boiling, burning, and burying people alive, or hanging people off cliffs by ropes and then allowing the ropes to slowly break. Additionally, with regular warfare, cultural preservation against foreigners, and difficult forced labor, she reduced Madagascar's population by millions, and she got to live until she was 83, even taking out a few more people at her funeral when a barrel full of gunpowder mysteriously exploded. The hungriest man in history lived in 18th century France. Terrari reportedly had a huge stretched out mouth and tons of excess skin around his stomach that expanded when he ate. He was always hungry but never put on weight despite eating constantly. He would consume live animals, lots of trash, and it's rumored humans. The army even tried to use his ability to eat anything by making him eat a box with a secret document inside to transport, but he sucked at being a spy and was quickly captured by the enemies. Eventually, when he died, an autopsy showed that his organs were deformed and that his stomach took up nearly all of his abdominal cavity.
One night, a cop was driving along a long stretch of highway in Canada, infamously known as the Highway of Tears. The cop spotted a truck pulling out of an old abandoned logging road at a late hour of the night, driving suspiciously. The cop just had a bad feeling, so he pulled the truck over to find what looked like if the failed love child of a third Paul brother and He-Man worked at a gas station. 20-year-old Cody Ledjabokov. Cody was in shorts and a t-shirt, he had blood on him, and when they searched his vehicle, they found some bloody tools and a backpack with the identification of a young girl inside. When they were like, "Hey, what's up with all the blood?" he was just like, "I just got done clubbing a deer to death," saying, quote, "I'm a redneck, that's what we do for fun." The officer arrested him for poaching, but still knew something wasn't adding the up. You don't just get kids named Cody roaming around in the middle of the winter in shorts and a t-shirt covered in blood on the Highway of Tears in the middle of the night. So the cop decided to venture up the old logging path looking for this deer. Instead, he would discover a trail of blood leading to the body of 15-year-old Lauren Leslie. After he was arrested and interrogated, they linked him through DNA to 3 more unsolved murders, making him Canada's youngest serial killer.
Hi, I'm Cam, and this Jeffrey Dahmer obsessed fan took it way too far. On June 20th, 2020, 19-year-old Chance Seneca met up with 18-year-old Holden White after they had been talking through Grindr for over a month. When the two finally met, Holden said it scarred him for life. Holden said everything was fine until Chance left the room, returned, and started choking him with a cord. Holden was choked by Chance until every blood vessel in his face ruptured. He lost his vision and then his consciousness. And I want to give a warning because this is about to get very graphic. Holden woke up in Chance's bathtub to him slicing open his left wrist. He was naked, soaked in his own blood, and on the verge of death. He repeated to himself, "Stay calm," thinking it was the end. Holden was in a coma for 3 days. On that 3rd day, he saw a light, and he went towards it. He woke up with a breathing tube down his throat, wrapped in bandages all over. Holden had suffered 6 stab wounds to the neck, blunt force trauma to his head, and deep cuts in his wrist. Chance had called the police thinking he had murdered Holden. What's even more disturbing is Chance has tried to kidnap and dismember 2 other gay men. He planned on using their bodies as trophies and food.